there's a house show going on here, and guess who Diesel gets put up against? None other than Bob Backlund. And he beats Bob Backlund at this match. And so very interesting. And that was one of his first matches, considering what happens towards when we get to it. But yeah, fun fact there. But going further ahead now, and want to get to the right year here of this one. And yeah, we go to none other than let's find out where we are here. WrestleMania 10, which so we go quite a jump here. Now it's worth pointing out all this time, Matt, that sorry, before we get there, let's actually hit the Royal Rumble. So Royal Rumble, Matt, 1990, what is that, 94 here we're on now. Yeah, at this point Diesel comes to the show, and he gets to, he gets to have an outing. Did you see any of this, Matt? Or I can't remember if I told you to check this one out, or do you recall any of it?
Funnily enough, I popped this one on today, and
right.
I thought I would just watch the Diesel segment, but then I got captivated and watched the whole thing.
Wow, must have been a hell of a rumble for that. What did you make of Diesel's coming out on this? Because he gets quite a little bit of a moment in this, I guess. Like, this is probably the first time I kind of sensed that, okay, maybe WWF, somebody in the back, whether it's Shawn Michaels whispering in the ear of Vince McMahon, but somebody's going to give this guy maybe a little bit of a shot here with this kind of outing. He ends up eliminating quite a few people in this exchange. What did you make of that performance and showing at the Rumble for him, Matt?
Well, yeah, it's like a genuine history moment, isn't it? Because the first real time that someone has come out and just made such an impact in the Royal Rumble.
Sure.
Of course, these days we take that kind of thing for granted, but coming out as a big man like that, and just this is how you really, I'd say this is where he made the name for himself in this thing, coming out there and just being so dominant like that. And yeah, I think it was a big deal at the time.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out after he eliminates quite a few people here. I can't remember how many it is. I know it was might have been a record at that time, but
it was about seven or eight.
Yeah,
there was
Owen Hart, there was Bart Gunn was one of them, Steiner, Backlund.
I think even Macho Man was one, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Yeah, and eventually he would get thrown out by Bam Bam Bigelow in the end. But yeah, it was a good outing on this one for Diesel. You felt like, okay, maybe there's fortunes changing for him here. And as Matt said, it's certainly seemed like a bit of a statement at that time for him. Okay, fun fact here then, Matt, and something that does come up on Wrestle Lines and other people's timelines quite a bit, but I'm sure you'll find this one as amusing. Kurt Hennig, Sting, and Jim the Anvil Neidhart were all in Orlando this past weekend filming episodes of none other than Thunder in Paradise. TV Guide gave the show a mention as a coming show, basically saying it won't be a good show, but it's got a winning formula. Baywatch with a boat. That's how they put this one in. I'm not quite sure it would end up being quite Baywatch with a boat for me, Matt. I'm not sure I'd describe it that way, but nonetheless, that's how they saw it then. Around this point as well, it's worth pointing out the third of the third, and WWF are currently in England, and Diesel is beating the likes of Virgil at some shows. They actually done a show in Blackburn. Don't get to see that nowadays, do you, in the UK? But yeah, there was a show at Blackburn, and he was up against Virgil and beats him. Okay, so let's now hit to WrestleMania 10. And on this night, of course, which I'm sure everyone knows, and if you haven't seen this match, my God, I recommend this one. Probably, arguably the best ladder match, if not one of the best ladder matches, without a doubt. Was the first at a WrestleMania, and it was Razor Ramon retaining the Intercontinental title in a ladder match with Shawn Michaels, and again, Diesel, he's involved here, but only short because he clotheslined Razor Ramon early and was thrown out. But this match, of course, is repeatedly on everywhere, Matt. This is one of the greatest ladder matches, no doubt about that. As far as Diesel goes in this, I mean, it's WrestleMania. I've got to be honest, we covered this WrestleMania on the Lex Luger Express episode, and I know we spoke then, Matt. I remember us mentioning, like, they had to have some of these guys go out twice and God knows what else. Like, didn't they have enough wrestlers? It kind of makes me wonder, like, how come they didn't just use Diesel somewhere else on the card, considering he was already doing house shows. He'd had the outing at the Royal Rumble. Like, why do you think he didn't get the match here? Was it just purely keeping in character, keeping in line with the whole Shawn Michaels deal at this point?
Yeah, I think that was an important part of it. I mean, Shawn Michaels was a massive star, and of course, someone they had pinned for like major greatness, like not in the not too far future. And although like Diesel had that look, and he was capable, and he was going to be a pretty decent wrestler actually when they actually did give him his chance. I just kind of feel like they were keeping to the character, and perhaps they felt like they needed to groom him a little bit more. Get people to understand just like what a big deal he might be. Progress the story with Shawn Michaels further, get that big payoff. Sure,
yeah, I kind of like the pacing of that in a lot of ways. It was just surprising that they, given with what happened at the Rumble, that they nowadays I'm sure they would have pounced all over that and had him doing something at WrestleMania at least. The next night on Raw after WrestleMania 10, Shawn Michaels was interfering in the Razor Ramon Diesel match that they had. So he got a match there straight after. And then, worth pointing out here that the WWF are then back over in the UK again. And this time Diesel is working most of the house shows. So in Glasgow he's beaten Tatanka. In Manchester he beats the 1-2-3 Kid. And again in Peterborough and in Sheffield he also beats Tatanka again on that programme. So he's involved here, and not only is he involved, but he's winning these matches, which is kind of an important statement to make there at this point, especially when you come in fresh, because sometimes you go straight to either being a guy that's going to job for guys, or if they really do take a high impression of you, you're going to end up, getting some victories early on, and that seems like what happened here. What we got here now, so we're now in April 18th, 1994, and the WWF match, they're in Israel at this point, and Big Daddy Cool Diesel beats Randy Savage at this point. He's going on like maybe 5th on the card, from a possible 8, so he's in between, and they're also in New York on the Raw tapings on the 11th of the 4th. There is a match between Diesel and none other than Virgil. Diesel beats Virgil in this exchange. Shawn Michaels was working as Diesel's manager in this point, which appears he's going to be doing all the tapings until he goes back in the ring. At this point, Shawn Michaels is injured, so they've reversed roles for a little while. He's only been wrestling in dark matches, reports Meltzer, and that's Shawn Michaels. Matt, I don't know too many times we're going to talk about this guy, but Virgil, where does he play on your list of greats? Does old Virgil? Was he a favourite of yours at any time? For Virgil, or is this a guy that was just a typical Vince McMahon gimmick for just $1 million man, and that was all it served?
Well, poor old Virgil. It reminds me of that Royal Rumble I said that I watched earlier. I think $1 Million Man was on the commentary, and when Virgil makes his entrance, it's like the best time of his career was when he was with me, and I'm thinking, yeah, you're not wrong. That singles run was pretty diabolical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think I'm with you there. Didn't work too good for him after that. Okay, the 12th of the 4th now, and WWF Challenge taping. So here's what we got this time, and there's an Intercontinental match, Matt, between Razor Ramon beating Diesel, but only by DQ. That's already interesting that he's been lined into having a program there with Razor. Matt, do you feel like it's, when you look at who Diesel's kind of working at a lot of these house shows, he's got the 1-2-3 kid, he's obviously paired with Shawn Michaels, he's up against Razor Ramon. Do you feel like this is the clique kind of forming their politics here, and they're kind of keeping him wrapped up to themselves, and they're going to kind of put this guy over by themselves slightly here?
Oh, yeah, I definitely feel like that. I mean, there is that side to it that, of course they're going to want to work together, and of course they're going to want to promote each other and help each other get further in the business.
Sure.
But I can also see it from a management standpoint as well. Like the guys that he's working with, like you just said, like he's working with Shawn, he's working with 1-2-3, he's working with Razor. These guys are all like top workers, and they can really put it on in the ring. I think to fight Diesel in a match, you have to actually be prepared to carry a lot of the weight. If you have to be the one that does all the movement around Diesel, because he's a bit of a slow moving person chugging along in that ring. So he'll powerhouse you, but I think you might have to put in a bit of the effort. And I'd say those like kind of guys are perfect sort of opponents for him. Yeah.
So here we go. So now we've got at the 13th of the 4th, there is WWF Superstars taping. So whenever I say the word taping at the end of these, that means that it's not going out live, and it might be the kind of syndication, so it might go out a lot later. Even like back at this point, they could like tape things that were not going to be out for like another month. So at this point, though, they get the taping done, and it's this night, Matt, where Diesel becomes the Intercontinental Champion, beating Razor Ramon in this match. Meltzer reports Diesel won the IC title from Razor Ramon at the Superstars taping in Rochester in a match that will likely air in syndication during May. The finish saw Ramon go after Shawn Michaels and was caught from behind, then pinned with the jackknife powerbomb. In all that. Matt, did you get to see that match at all, or do you have any memories of it, or was that one that you didn't get to see? Yeah.
I saw that one as well, and I can't say the actual in-ring like action blew me away or anything. I think there was a lot of abdominal stretches. I mean, a lot of Diesel showing off his power. I wouldn't say it really got out of third gear, but it did a good job of getting Diesel over. I think they used the exposed turnbuckle in the end to give a little bit of a scapegoat towards Razor during that, which isn't a bad thing because he's got to have a little bit of protection.
Sure, yeah. Okay, well we'll probably catch up with that when it does get syndicated. But I thought the match itself was okay. I mean, similar to you, Matt, it wasn't anything sort of epic. You're not going to go, that's one of the greatest Intercontinental matches we've ever had. But I felt like slowly, gently. I think here with this one, like it's no small feat either, because again we're talking about a time where winning belts wasn't as easy as perhaps what the modern days become. They didn't just give these things out for nothing, and you felt like, Matt, that okay, it might be a more internal thing, it might be between the clique, but still winning that Intercontinental belt is quite a feat for this stage, considering he's only really been working since WrestleMania 10 at this point, like full time on the road. So he's won this like in less than a month after WrestleMania. Do you feel at this point, Matt, that the office are looking at Diesel and thinking there might be something to this guy that we perhaps might have missed when we first signed him?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially at this time, they're looking around the locker room, and they're thinking, we're short of some really big guys. And looking at Diesel, he's there naturally gifted with this kind of height and this weight and this kind of muscle mass. And we all know what Vince is like for seeing these type of people as his top guy. So, yeah, I mean, if he's just there, I couldn't blame him for turning to him and saying, well, why not give him a run out? Sure.
Okay, fun fact here. Former announcer Sean Mooney is now a news reporter for WWOR in New York. Remember Sean Mooney, Matt? Any memories of him?
Oh, yeah.
Those guys that just get lost.
recently come back to fame from the Edge and Christian show.
You're right, yes.